Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Crendor, and today I'm going to be ranking some classic WoW zones. So, people are saying there's this WoW zone tier list thing. I've done like pointless top 10 WoW zones, but that included kind of like all of World of Warcraft. I really wanted to do like a classic one, you know what I mean? Because I feel like classic zones are kind of, they're like the staples of WoW, right? Like everybody knows these zones, and everybody's got nostalgia for different zones. And some people hate zones, other people like. So I think it would just be fun. Make a little tier list of all the classic WoW zones. So here we go. I mean, if you want to comment below on your favorite and least favorite WoW zone, that'd probably be easier than making an entire list. I mean, you can do that too, but like, you just comment your favorite, least favorite zone. And like, comment, subscribe. Okay, there we go. YouTube lingo is gone. So, first things first, let's rank the bad zones. Then we'll make everybody mad when they're like, that's my favorite zone and you think it's the worst zone ever? Yeah, okay. I do not like the Burning Steps. I don't like it. It's going in the bad zones. Some other zones that I think are bad, probably Deadwind Pass. Like, I don't mind Deadwind Pass, but like, it's just kind of boring. There's really nothing there until Karazhan happens. Not a big fan. Blasted Lands, again, I don't mind it, but, well, maybe, I'll put in the mediocre. Blasted Lands can go in the mediocre. You know what, I should probably just go, like, one by one, otherwise I'm gonna, like, be all over the place. Okay, let's just do that. So, Thousand Needles. Okay, Thousand Needles, I'm a pretty big fan of Thousand Needles. I don't think it's the greatest zone. It does have the Shimmering Flats in it. Big fan of the Shimmering Flats, even though it's just a lot of grinding, and I know some people like, it's so boring, but like, there's something about the Shimmering Flats that just radiates with me. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to put it as a great zone. Alterac Mountains. The Alterac Mountains are kind of weird, because you have like one big area that's connected to Hillsbrid, and it's like this very lush green area with a big hill right there, and then it like kind of twists into the Arctic upper mountains, and then you've got like the lake down there. It's a weird zone. It's like split up in 3 different ways, but it's not. I don't dislike it, but I don't really enjoy it. So I'm just gonna put it in the good category. I think it's good. Arathi Highlands, one of my favorite zones. Amazing. Love Arathi Highlands. It's a great zone. Like, I love the aesthetic of it. I love the level range of it. I love, like, I don't know. I've always been a big fan of the Arathi Highlands, and so gotta put it up there. Ashenvale. Ashenvale's okay. I don't dislike it. Again, I'm not a big fan. It would probably go in the same category as Alterac. Like, it's good. Azshara. I think it's a great zone. Now, part of it is I do love the aesthetic of Azshara. I love the kind of fall, autumn thing going on. I love just the big, like, crater thing you gotta run around. It's kind of a simple zone. I also have some nostalgia with it, 'cause I remember farming herbs there and mining there. And the problem with it is it's a very inconvenient zone, because you have to go like all the way up and around and like all the way down, and like all the hill. Like if you're down on the beach to get back up top, you have to like go all these different ways. So that's kind of annoying, and there's not a lot to do there, because I feel like they were gonna put stuff there and then they didn't. In fact, I know that because I've talked to devs that said that. So I still think it's a great zone. I think it could have been an amazing zone, but I think it's great. The Badlands. Badlands, I'm a pretty big fan of the Badlands. I'd say it's a great zone. It feels like it's better. It's a better version of the Blasted Lands and Burning Steppes. I love kind of that, South American Adobe desert type of theme it's got going on. There's a lot of grinding quests, but like it's still, I don't know. I like it. A lot of this just boils down to me being like, why do you like this zone? I just do. It's like the Applejack. Remember the Applejacks commercials? Where they're like, what do you kids like about these Applejacks? They don't taste like apples. And it's like, doop, 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 doop. And then they're like, we just do. That's like half of my things right now. I'm just like, why do you like the Badlands? Yeah, I just do. So yeah, that's put it there. Dark Shore. This is gonna make some people mad, but I'm putting it in the mediocre category. Now, I'm not saying it's a mediocre zone, because I know a lot of people like Dark Shore, but me personally, I never really leveled many Alliance characters, never really many Night Elves, and most of the time, Dark Shore was just a place buried away way up there, and I never really visited it. So it's more of a mediocre zone to me because I don't know much about it, and whenever I'd go through there, I'd be like, this place is kind of grim and kind of sad. I'd be like, eh. So I'd put it as mediocre, but I don't think it's a bad zone. So, I know some people love Dark Shore, so there you go. Desolus. I like the fishing village area of Desolus. And a couple other spots. But aside from that, it's a bunch of centaurs. And I'm putting it in the mediocre category. Like, really, it's just a bunch of... Half the map is centaurs. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's bad, though, but it's definitely in the mediocre. Dunmoreau. That's got to go in the amazing. Dunmoreau's an amazing place. Love it. Great aesthetic. You got the snowstorms. You got the little dwarf starting area. And, you know, the gnome dwarf starting area, I guess, in Classic. And, you know, you run up there and you get the Karanos. It's like this little inn. And you're like, oh, I was in the newbie area. And now I made it to the inn to rest. And then you go back out and do some more quests. Then you get the Iron Forge. And it's like, whoa. I just love the layout of Dunmoreau. I love everything about Dunmoreau. Great place. Durotar. I like Durotar, but I'm just gonna put it in the good zone. All right. I don't think there's anything special about Durotar. Sure, a lot of people like it. I like it. It was the first place I leveled a Horde character. I'm a big fan of the Durotar starting zones. I like Senjin Village. I think there's a lot to like about Durotar, but at the same time, it's kind of just... There's a lot to dislike. It's very confusing sometimes going on, like, up on the hills, and then you got to go down below, and there's the crags and the things and the shifts and the... You know. And then... I think it's just a good zone. I don't think it's anything special, but I don't think it's anything bad. So that's Durotar for me. Duskwood... It's going to make a lot of people mad. I'd put Duskwood in the mediocre category, but I'm putting it in the good category because I think it does the aesthetic very well of kind of the gloomy dark forest. And I get it. I'm not a big fan of Duskwood, personally, but I get the reason why people like it. And I feel like it is a good zone. So I'm putting it in the good category. Again, I don't really have a lot of nostalgia with Duskwood. I barely ever went there. So to me, I'm like, this place is pretty neat, but that's about it. Dustwallow Marsh, I'm going to put it in the mediocre category. I've leveled a few times through Dustwallow. I just went there for my Nat Pagel fishing quest. And it's a little too crazy for me. There's like all the blah, blah, blah. And all I remember in Dustwallow and Vanilla WoW is just running back from Onyxia wipes. I don't know. It's okay. Mediocre, I'm put it at. Elwyn Forest, I'm going to put it in the great category. I think it's just a classic fantasy forest. A lot of cool stuff. And, you know, it's Elwyn Forest, right? You can't hate Elwyn Forest. You can't hate the forest. But to me, it's not amazing. It's not like Dunmoreau tier, but it's better than a lot of other places. I'd say it's better than Durotar, and I like Durotar too. And I'm more of a Horde person, so... Eastern Plaguelands, I hate the Eastern Plaguelands. All of my memories from the Eastern Plaguelands are bad memories. I would get ganked here. I remember just hating the questing here. I'd often run out of quests when I got the Eastern Plaguelands. I just don't like the Eastern Plaguelands. I don't like it. Fellwood. I'm not a big Fellwood person. It's kind of bordering mediocre bad, but I'm going to put it in mediocre strictly for the Furbolgs. I love the Furbolg area, and this is right next to Winter Spring, so you go from Fellwood to Winter Spring, and I always enjoyed that little Furbolg run. So I think that would keep it at the mediocre category for me. Feralus. That's an amazing tier. Love Feralus. It might be my favorite zone. Feralus is pretty close to being my favorite zone. I just love all the trees, the green kind of hue that's going on there, the the river, the little Camp Nara, or is it Camp Naraho? Or Camp Mo... Why can't I remember it? Feralus. Wow. It's Camp... I'm thinking of Camp Taraho in Barrens. Wait, is it Camp Mojachi? Or Moyaki? I don't know which one, how you say it. Yeah, Camp Mojachi. Moyaki. I don't know. I always called it Moyaki. Because I thought the J was kind of like yeah. But I could be Mojachi and I'm just crazy. But I think it is that. Okay. So then we got Hillsbred Foothills. To me, Hillsbred, I'm a big fan. I'm put in the great category. Okay, it's not amazing to me, but it's a solid zone. Great aesthetic. A lot of nostalgia. A lot of low-level battles. You got the whole Tar and Mill versus South Shore PvP thing going on. It's great. I feel like a lot of people have a lot of Hillsbred nostalgia. In fact, I think it borders on an amazing zone, but to me, it's not quite there. I think it's still great. Hinterlands. This is another one. It kind of borders on amazing and great for me, because there's some things I don't like about the Hinterlands, but there's a lot that I do like. I love that there's that outdoor dungeon, and it's not really a dungeon, but it is. I love the fishing town on the East Coast. I love the aesthetic. I love the mountains, the trees. I even love the dwarf area up in the hills. Oh, I'm putting it amazing. I like Hinterlands. I talked myself into it. Loch Modan. This is another one that kind of feels like Hinterlands for me. It kind of borders on great and amazing. I'm a big fan of Loch Modan. I love the big dam with all the water pouring out of the heads. That's a staple of classic. I love the little dwarf town. But I don't know. I don't think it beats out some of my other favorites. So I'm gonna put it in great still. I think it's still great. Moonglade. Moonglade's like a very memorable place, but I never really enjoyed going there, so I'm just gonna put it in mediocre. It could be good, but eh. Mulgore. Now this is amazing to me. Now I know a lot of people aren't gonna like Mulgore, right? It's very plain. It's kind of it's literally it is. It's the open plains. It's the Great Plains. But like, I feel like when you go to the Great Plains and you're at Tarn, you look out over that landscape, or you're standing in Thunderbluff. It's just a cool feeling. It feels like you're actually looking out over the Great Plains. You're like, wow, this is a vast open world, and it's just I always love that feeling about it, and that's what's so amazing about it to me. And that's how I felt leveling my Tarn. And that's why my Hearthstone's actually set to Thunderbluff right now. I love Mulgore. So I think it's an amazing zone. Red Ridge Mountains. This is going to make a lot of people upset. Mediocre. Alright, that's going to make a lot of people say, oh, my Red Ridge Mountains. I've never really enjoyed leveling in the Red Ridge Mountains. Whenever I get to the Red Ridge Mountains, I'm like, I kind of want to just get out of here. I don't know what it is. It's a very like D&D town. You know what I mean? You've got like the old-timey town. You've got the lake. You got the sea monster. You got a bunch of orcs and gnolls and creatures running around. It reminds me of D&D a lot, which I think is cool. And you know what? I'll bump it up to good for that. I could appreciate a very like D&D-esque town, but it's just I've never really enjoyed going there. I've never really enjoyed leveling there. I don't know, but I'll bump it up for that purpose. Searing Gorge, I've always hated it. Bad zone. I don't like the Searing Gorge. The only thing I like about Searing Gorge is that it's the best way to get into the mountain, Black Mountain. Cause like I don't know. If I pull up a map, or Black Rock Mountain, the Black Mountain, same thing. It's like all of my memories from Searing Gorge are running back from dying in Molten Core, or going to Black Rock Mountain, or just hating going into that area with all the mining dwarves and stuff. And then I just remember helping that dwarf in the outhouse. That's really it. That's all I remember. By the way, pointless top 10 outhouses. If you haven't seen it, I'll pull a card up there. Yeehaw. So yeah, that's what I think about Searing Gore. I've never been a fan. Silithus. Silithus is... Oh, there's like Silithus music going on right now. It's good timing. I think it's mediocre. I mean, when it came out, it wasn't even finished. It's okay. It's mainly just where you go for AQ and everything. The bugs flying around. Like, it's got some cool stuff. I don't hate it, but eh. Silverpine Forest. I've never really been a big fan of Silverpine. I'm going to put it in the mediocre category. It's got some cool stuff. I'm sure a lot of people that like the werewolf kind of grim vampire aesthetic really like Silverpine. But I'm not really into that, and so I've always been like, yeah, Silverpine's okay. Stone Talon Mountains. Here's the thing. I enjoy Stone Talon Mountains, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm gonna put Stone Talon I'll put it in the good category. Like, I don't have anything against Stone Talon, but I definitely don't think it's great or amazing. But I don't dislike it that much. It's pretty close to being mediocre for me, but I'm gonna keep it in good. Stranglethorn Vale. It's gotta be an amazing. You got this vast jungle, you got Booty Bay. You've got so many different aspects to Stranglethorn because of how big it is. Like it's actually gigantic. It's like the Texas of Azeroth. It's legit like the Texas of Azeroth. They're like now in retail, while they cut it in half and it's still giant. Like there's just so much to do in Stranglethorn, and it really is this vast jungle, and I love it. I love Stranglethorn, unless I'm getting ganked in it, but you know, and that's usually gonna happen. Swamp of Sorrows. It's pretty close to mediocre bad for me in the Swamp of Sorrows. Like, you got Stonard, which is a mediocre town for me. You got some weird shit in the north with those old Draenei people. There's like Murlocs on the east coast, and then there's the boring dungeon, the sunken temple that's literally just like sunken time temple because you waste all your time there. I don't like Swamp of Sorrows. I don't. Every time I just hear myself talk, I'm like, I need to just do it. Tanaris, I love Tanaris. Amazing zone. Love the desert. Love the little town on the northern coast, or no, the east coast, northeast coast, where you can go fishing in the dock with all the turtles. Love Gadget Sand. Gadget Sand's probably one of my favorite neutral cities. And it's just, I don't know, it's my favorite desert, I think, in World of Warcraft. Love it. And I love all the quests there. I think the quests are great. There's also a little pirate area. I'm a big fan. I like Tanaris a lot. Teldrassil. Teldrassil, to me, is on the same boat as, like, Durotar. Like, I never really played a lot of Night Elf stuff. I didn't really, like, Teldrassil, I was like, this place looks cool. I like some of the quests, but I never was inspired, kind of like Mulgore or Dunmurrow or the type of thing. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to say it's good, because I do think it's good. The Barrens. The Barrens, here's the thing. I like the Barrens a lot. I'm a pretty big fan of the Barrens. I love leveling in the Barrens. I love the aesthetic of the Barrens. The Barrens, again, it's kind of like the Stranglethorn, or it's just massive, right? It's like another Texas of the other continent. But I'm gonna put it in great. I think it's a great zone, but I don't think it's an amazing zone. And it doesn't have to be an amazing zone. That's the thing, right? Like, to me, a great zone is still a really great zone. It doesn't, not everything has to be amazing. Tirisfal Glades. This kind of lines up with, like, Duskwood and like Fellwood and like all these kind of Darkshore, like all these types of zones. I'm not a big Tirisfal Glades person. In fact, when I leveled my undead, I took the Zeppelin. When I leveled my undead back in the day named Crendor, I took the Zeppelin from Tirisfal Glades to go level in Durotar. That's how much I didn't like Tirisfal Glades. And now I like it a little more, but I still, it's just not for me. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad zone. It's just not for me. Ungoro Crater. I think Ungoro Crater is a great zone. I'm a pretty big Ungoro Crater fan. A lot of cool stuff there. All the crystals. There's some neat quests. You got all the dinosaurs walking around. I think it's a great zone. Big fan. Westfall? A lot of people love Westfall. A lot of people love Westfall. It's kind of like Red Ridge, right? A lot of people love Red Ridge. And to me, again, it's kind of got that D&D vibe again going, you know, this. And I'm going to put in a good zone. But I'm not a big Westfall person. It would be bordering mediocre for me, but I still think it's a good zone. I like some of the quests there, like the stew. You can do the chicken clucking. You can, you know, there's Old Blanchy, the lighthouse. There's some cool stuff in there, and I do like the landscape. It's kind of different, all the farms. So I think it's a good zone, but to me it's not amazing or great, but it's not mediocre bad. Wetlands. I mean, it is wetlands. They are lands that are wet. There's a bunch of swamp stuff. Definitely more of an alliance zone. I barely remember leveling there. I'm going to put it in mediocre. I'm not a big wetlands person, but, you know, I'm putting it here because I don't really know too much about it. I've leveled there like twice, and I was like, this place is all right. So I'd put it mediocre. Winter Spring. That's going amazing. Love Winter Spring, one of my favorite zones in the game. You got the hot springs. You got all the snow. I love the purple kind of hue going on in the air because it's weird. Like when it actually does snow in real life, you kind of get that same thing. It always reminds me of Winter Spring, even though that's based on real life. Love Winter Spring. Love the quests there. And usually when you're in Winter Spring, you're like, dude, I'm getting pretty close to 60. So... in fact, I think I've hit level 60 in Winter Spring multiple times while leveling. And finally, we got Western Plaguelands, which I do like more than the Eastern Plaguelands. And it's got some cool stuff in it. I'd say it's a good zone. I think Western Plaguelands is a pretty good zone. It's got like those cauldron things. You got some cool quests there. It's not my favorite. It's one of those like bordering mediocre to me because I'm like, it's not really my thing, but I do think it's a good zone, so I'll put it in the good category. And that's my list. Here's my tier list of my favorite zones and my least favorite zones. Hopefully, I did okay according to your standards. Let me know. And yeah. Hope you enjoyed this tier list. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what's your favorite zone, or maybe a couple of your favorite zones, and what are your least favorite zones. You can leave out the great, good, and mediocre. Or don't. You know, do whatever you want. But hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. See you.